And good morning. It's your friendly neighborhood Tironan, and we're looking at the Yak 15 mid-tier upgrade. So with that, we got an airframe that offers 2% or plus 2 to maneuverability, but it doesn't say how. And then we got the gun upgrade, which is plus 10 per gun, so that's plus 20 to the firepower. And we already had the engine. Now, how much of a difference to this aircraft it's going to make, I am uncertain. It's nimble enough, I'll give it that. Firepower so far has been extremely lacking. And the speed still makes it dog chow for the ME-262. So it's an interesting plane. If you let it get behind you, it's over. You can't get away from it. But unless you're a 262, in which case you just put the pedal to the metal and run away from it, and twisting and turning, and that works just fine because of the distance involved. That makes it a little difficult sometimes. Now the range on the gun's perfectly sufficient. And as you can tell, the turning capability is outstanding. The hit points on the aircraft, the survival points, whatever you want to call them, to me they're just hit points, are pretty poor. So in a lot of ways, to me, it's reminiscent of the Hayabusa, though a very, relatively fast Hayabusa. It can turn with a Spitfire. It can turn with a KI-94, so forth and so on. So it's a more versatile aircraft than a Hayabusa ever was. But you still got a lot of the same problems in the fact that the guns overheat very rapidly. So you have to manage that on top of having poor firepower. Well, that's not so great. And let's see, we have aircraft above us, which is a bad sign. I notice I'm taking breaks in the... Yeah, what a surprise. It makes me very nervous. You can't really tell when an aircraft is... you do not want to run into that thing. Along with the... I see an aircraft coming in right now. I'm being hit from the I-20 and from the... okay. You can see the difficulty here. I'm having to deal with planes above me, and the true curse of the low firepower is you can't just kill a plane and be done with it. I see a plane after me right now, so we're going to turn away. And sure enough, there's a... So you've gone totally defensive here, right? I mean, we're just trying to survive, being up, and I see aircraft coming at me. And wish they had some sort of altitude indicator on the radar, because I can't really tell what's going on. And the low altitude really affects the aircraft very badly as well because it begins to rob power from you, just like it would in real life. And so I have to stay down at a lower level, which unfortunately sets me up for these kind of attacks. And you may notice I could not tell where the guy was coming from. I couldn't get a good link on him. Now it's offering me all the aircraft in the world to switch to because we control an air base, but the idea is to show this vehicle, not something I'd prefer to fly. And this is unfortunately one of the vehicles that I would just prefer to fly something else so far. I will tell you that I did not enjoy the P-51 at low levels, and that remains the case. Until I got that thing fully upgraded. And then it was something entirely different. Now here, didn't say the thing was helpless. It's not. But you have to keep an eye constantly on your radar. You have to worry constantly about what's going on. And in this case, we've got lots and lots and lots of bots, and they're not very effective. And it's easy to blame bots on poor performance on bots, but I think that's the case. They can't hold their own against the opposition. And you'll notice that most of these are bots. And I'm having to manage the thermal load on my cannon. And I find it most effective just to do a 3 count, and you can keep your fire, keep a rate of fire up. But again, notice I was the only one really attacking of that bomber line. There may have been another plane or two there, and they have taken over every single base. Yeah. I don't know what to say about this, but I'm not happy, and I shouldn't be happy. Now, that doesn't take away from the fact that the aircraft is only so-so. I suspect once you get the 2 engine upgrades on this and the final gun upgrade, it's going to be a formidable aircraft. And we still didn't do badly. But it leaves a bad taste in your mouth, and I've got a very bad taste in my mouth. It's probably the thing that disturbs me most about the game. Okay, may have been they had two. I think they had two players from my one, but nobody wants to be. I've decided you go out and play a game, and the game is here's your loss, enjoy it. Yeah, and that's exactly how I feel. Um, Maybe that's just negative of me, but that's exactly how I feel. Uh, you're trying to upgrade aircraft and give a positive review, and it's a little tough when you're handed a loss over and over again. Um, I look forward to this just for the airspeed. I'll tell you what you can, and just ignore the last. I mean, we all have to put up with exactly the same thing, and so forgive me. There are things that just irritate me about this game, and I play it a lot. So that tells you that my heart is that I love the game. I just want it to be better. The Here is what's interesting to me. All right, you get this, and you're talking about 170. Now you're up to 340. Right now we're at 280, and that's not really that great. But at 340, I think this becomes a better aircraft. The rate of fire jumps up 60 rounds per minute. That's going to help some. And then you get this will only get you six. Brings you up to 484, about what you get out of a P-51, though it will be turnier and has longer range firepower and has equivalent has the equivalent damage per second. And then when you look at this, where you're talking, -6, another 13 miles an hour. You're right at 500. You add the aircraft polish. You're looking pretty good. You're going to be right at about 523, I think. That's competitive with most things out there, so the speed won't hurt you so much. And I think this will be a fine aircraft once it's fully upgraded. Until then, it's a bit of a slog. You can certainly play it. It's playable, especially when you get to the second tier. It's going to get a lot more enjoyable here, and then we'll find out what it can really do when I bring it up to the final upgrade with the final engine. The thing that's nice about this is you get the Yak 19, but I haven't really had a chance to look at it. So let's take a look at it for a moment. So you're going to start off at where the MiG 15 or Yak 15, excuse me, finishes off at, and you're going to end up at 534, and that's certainly competitive. And then you will have three of these, and that's going to be pretty darn nice. And you still get the turn times, which is going to be awfully nice. So I think this is going to be just fine, and then you end up at the Yak 20. Again, great turn times. And I would make sure that I would save, if you're smart here, what you want to do, even when you go here, is you want to save these. Make sure that you save them, because when you come back in here, same gun. Boy, that's the same gun. Yeah, it is the same gun. So you want that, and then when you come down here to the Yak 19, it's probably going to be a lot less expensive. And if you save that, you can jump straight in as the Yak 30. And you save yourself some money there. All right. So the aircraft, it's competitive. You're just going to have to accept the fact that it's low altitude fighter, stay below 5,000 feet. And you're going to have to deal with a lot of boom and zoomers because you'll have to deal with the people that already have ME-262s, but the biggest part is they outfit the bots with 262s. And at this, you're just going to see a lot of boom and zoomers. I will tell you that this aircraft is something you will see too, and when it is fully upgraded, which I am something else I am also working on, Um, this is a terrifying weapon. And when I first got the aircraft, I thought it was a dog. Not from the speed wise, not the fact that it isn't. The Tiger Cat in many ways is worse, but I enjoyed it more. But when you get this, you have the M39. And I actually did a little research on this aircraft. And it was the U.S. equivalent of the Aden or the DIFA cannons made by Great Britain and France, respectively. And as such, the here's what you get. These are 20 millimeter cannons, obviously, but they're firing at 1,500 rounds a minute. The shell is coming out at 330 feet per second. For those of you more familiar with the metric system, that's 1,030 meters per second. That is a tremendously hard-hitting, fast 20 millimeter. Make no mistake. And it carried about 10 grams of RDX, which is a very powerful explosive. So you put that together, that's another opponent you're going to have to deal with booming and zooming you. There's a lot of them at Tier 8. This comes with the territory. I wish I could say that everything was fine with this aircraft, and it will be with the NR20. No, excuse me, I'm having a little bit of a burp issue here, or hiccup issue, or something. When you get the NR23C, it's a very effective cannon. It will be able to kill a lot of these aircraft much faster. Should alleviate a lot of the problems. You get the speed up. Again, it will be a much better aircraft. And I'm sorry for my bitterness earlier. I'm just getting a little fed up with losing because I look up and every bot that we had is lost to the opposition bots who are obviously better. And I find that very irritating. All right, folks. C'est la vie, right? So remember to like the video if you like the video, and remember to subscribe. We need all the subscribers we can get. Y'all have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.